psionicists, fucking word, channel their, I'm not flubbing it either, it's psionicists, channel their magic by focusing their minds. By doing so, they can transcend their physical bodies, adopting forms of pure thought, casting spells.
What the fuck are you talking about?
I'm a thought boy. I'm a thought. Hey everyone, it's time for your favorite conversational podcast within a podcast here on the Quest Company, where the game mechanics, I just came up with that while writing this intro, you're welcome, Joe, bring you, air quote, the expert D&D analysis you crave. This week we take a look at the latest unearthed arcana from Wizards of the Coast, psionic subclasses. So pull up a drink and pour yourself a chair. Welcome to Talkin' Shop.
My big bulbous boys bake baller baklava. I'm warm. Let's do this.
Toasty.
I really thought you were going to throw, like, balls in there, like my big bulbous balls, baked baklava with the boys. I don't know.
I suppose...
I was expecting more, really.
That's what makes me a professional is the thing.
Is the unwillingness to take it to the next level?
Yeah. A professional podcaster never uses words like poop, balls, ass, piss.
I'm so happy you started with poop. Really crass of you to go straight for poop.
It's the crassest thing that we produce.
How do you expect to get that Casper mattress money if you go around saying words like poop?
Hey there, listeners.
How do you expect to be able to cast psionics?
Oh boy!
How do you?
This
expect
episode
to
brought to you
things?
by Casper Mattress. You can poop on it.
Our new
this episode
sponsor.
brought to you by lift things with your mind feats. You know, for everyone, because whatever.
But my intelligence is 6.
It doesn't matter. There's no requirements.
Hell yeah!
Oh, we're gonna get into it. Jonah, do you want to start?
You don't need an intelligence requirement to lift things with your mind.
I don't even know, man.
Or
I don't
talk
even
to
know.
people through their minds. I think if your intelligence is too low, you should like scramble their mind like a microwave.
If I flex hard enough, you can hear my thoughts. Hey, so we're back for another episode of I guess we're calling it Talkin' Shop, unless you guys have a better idea.
Not at the moment.
Talking shit about unearthed arcana.
Well, so
is that too on the nose?
Well, so here's the thing. And I feel like this is the way that our conversations sort of naturally go. In this loose conversational podcast within a podcast. But no, I feel like the conversations generally lean toward like, yeah, sure, talking shit aplenty, but also I feel like out of all of us, I'm the one who gets the most like, oh, but what if this? While you guys are like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Can I make an observation?
Please.
Can I make an observation?
Can I
Could
second
that
this
potentially be
observation?
because, yes, I think we're gonna make the same, Joe. Could it be because this bullshit powers that allow you to be likened to a god instantly from level 1, and so you're instantly attracted to mass amounts of power out of the gate?
Me? Attracted to mass amounts of power? What are you talking about,
It's not
Joe?
even
What
mass
were you going to
amounts
say?
of power, just bullshit game mechanic. Can I be everyone and do everything? Yes, I want to play it.
Was that what you were going to say, Joe?
No comment. How do we go forward?
No, but I'm saying I think that it's not just with Unearthed Arcana that this, I feel like it's not just with the psionic stuff that this happens. I feel like in general, I'm like, yeah, that's weird. It's cool. Well, it's like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Which is fine. We have point, counterpoint. But so I think
I'm going to call bullshit on a lot of things tonight.
I love it. I'm very excited. So I'm thinking that as we move through this, obviously, if you haven't caught on yet, we are discussing the newest Unearthed Arcana from Wizards of the Coast, the Fighter, Rogue, and Wizard psionic playtest content. I think that maybe the best way for us to go through this, unless you all have different thoughts, is we've each sort of assigned ourselves one of these subclasses, what with there being 3 of the things and 3 of us. But so if we just start at the top and work our way down, each of us could sort of give the class features of the things that we have chosen, give some initial thought, and then the others can come in with whatever their thoughts are, and we can kind of move through that way. That seems like it might be a way that we can stay on track, roughly.
That sounds awesome.
But also
I just want to ask a
tangents.
couple questions first, if we can.
Please.
So Jonah, maybe you'll be able to answer this because the mystic is something that you've been interested in for a while, and like the idea of psionics as a sort of field. But what is it? Like, what is being a psion flavor wise? What makes this magic different from other magic that people sort of produce with whatever other sources? Like, what do you think is the difference about these subclasses or this flavor, I guess?
Yeah, well, because it's different. And that's also part of what I think they need to really nail down in order to use the stuff. What the difference is, because obviously it's mind powers and stuff, so it's not like arcane magic and it's not holy magic and stuff. It's like the telekinesis, the things that you do with your brain, and it's different because it's not, I guess, technically casting spells. At least as the Mystic originally was. Like, I think that there was even a thing in there where it was like the effects of it are technically not like spell effects.
Right.
Andrew?
I have my hand raised. But it is. Mechanically, and how the game is structured, they haven't done anything different to separate it from magic other than the fact that it is called brain magic.
No, yes.
Let's hold that thought, though.
I'm sorry.
Let's hold
so
that thought.
ready.
Because
you're right.
I completely agree with you. But like, just as the baseline, this is Matilda.
Fair.
This is 11 from Stranger Things. It's
This
the
is
idea
Professor
that
Xavier.
Professor X, Jean Grey.
it's psychic shit, as opposed to your god or nature or whatever the other sources of magic are in the D&D sort of universe.
Right. But that said, mechanically, the intent feels like it's supposed to be something else. Or sorry, flavor-wise, it feels like it's supposed to be something else. But mechanically, it still feels very much the same, especially because in this one, and we'll get into this, it's got, like, for the wizard, like, psionic spells and stuff. So we're not veering far enough away to make it its own thing, but we're putting it into the stuff that we've already got.
Andrew, do you want to kick us off with
Sorry, just super side note. We're going to get there when we talk about this wizard subclass, but like all I want to bring up is the fact that like I feel like it would be more at home as a sorcerer subclass than
I
a
felt the
wizard
same way.
subclass.
Yes,
Because it feels like something that is an innate gift and not something that is learned.
correct.
Right? You already have spells that exist in the game called telekinesis and things like of that nature.
Yeah.
Right? So like why isn't it a sorcerer subclass that has expanded spell list to psionics? Right? Anywho, moving on. That's your topic, Jonah.
Yeah.
Do we really want me to start us off, guys?
I think so. I think
very
let's start with the
aggressive.
spiciest takes that we're probably going to get.
Cool. So, I took the warrior because I love tanks. Here's the thing. There are things that I think are cool about this class. That being said, they all get outshined by the things I absolutely hate about it. I'm probably going to do a lot of reading, just to like talk about it.
what's that first flavor thing?
Yeah.
So
We'll definitely actually read the thing, so there's context for what we're talking about, since we're not like playing.
Oh
through this
yeah,
stuff.
let's do that. Sorry. The martial archetype called the psychic warrior. Awakening to the psionic power within themselves, a psychic warrior is a fighter who augments their physical might with physically infused psychically infused. That would make sense. Psychically infused weapon strikes, telekinetic lashes, and barriers of mental force. That's all you really need to know.
I'm with it so far.
Poopy.
Yeah. So far we're okay.
It's a Jedi.
Dope,
I'm just gonna like throw it out there. It's like baseline force user.
And I have no qualm with that yet.
Yes. Okay. Third level. I think there's something really cool here. When you get this at third level, right? That's when you pick up this martial archetype as a fighter.
Okay.
You can channel psychic power to magically augment your prowess. When you finish a long rest, choose whether to augment your defenses or your strikes, which I think is cool. We'll get into it more when you talk about the rogue, Joe, and it's all like
the different
change
benefits.
everything on a long rest. change who you are on a long rest.
Right, which is a sort of remainder of the original Mystic UA, where it was like, except I think that even then it was like a lot of short rest change out. It's like
it
like
was
you
like
said,
you
I
can
can be anything
every 10 minutes.
anytime.
Yeah, you're just like, can we take 30 minutes real fast? We need another tank. I love augmented defense. I think it's super cool. It it is very overpowered in my opinion. Right? Or else.
Yeah, it's a
like, the
D10
specifics
to
of each
reduce
one.
the amount of damage, right?
Right. When a creature you can see within 30 feet of you takes damage, you can use your reaction to roll a D10 and reduce that amount of damage taken by a number rolled.
Holy
Right?
shit, that rules.
So
Every turn.
Every turn.
Every turn. Okay? When you reach 10th level, the die becomes a D12. Right?
That's not a good enough upgrade to wait that long. Sorry, you go ahead.
It's not. No. I totally agree with you. To me, I think that could benefit from other things. But I love augmented defense. To me, it feels like you want to get like the most out of like a shield master tank, right? Somebody that's like deflecting things with their mind and like protecting allies.
Yeah.
Like super cool.
Very cool.
You could take 3 levels of it and play a cleric and be like super cool feeling. Augmented strikes to me, bleh. Once during each of your turns, when you hit a creature with a weapon attack, you can also deal 1d4 psychic damage to that target. When you reach 10th level, this class psychic damage increases to 1d6. You have automatic...
I don't hate it.
I don't hate it, but like Andrew, don't see any reason to not pick the augmented defense.
Yeah, well, because
like it just feels more fun.
If you got
Ghosts,
the same
I
damage
guess?
die on both of them, I think it would feel a little bit like better. But because one goes from a D4 and then you
Well, it's
wait
because
so
it's
long and it goes
damage.
to a D6.
Like, because like I mean, like honestly, I think augmented defense could do more because if you really think about 10th level things, if I roll a D12, right? Even if I roll maximum D12,
Yeah.
I'm probably only sparing the wizard that just got hit in the face with like a two-handed hammer.
Right.
Right.
A little chunk of that pain that's coming their way,
Right.
right? Whereas like augmented strikes is just I have hex. That's why I don't like it, because I'm just like
It just feels like hex.
it just feels like
Oh, interesting.
it just feels like something that already exists. This is a whole Andrew soapbox, right? When it comes to unearthed arcana, I feel like they rely too much on mechanics they know work, and so now nothing feels special to a class, right? I'm going to talk
kinda
about it when
flat.
you start talking about your wizard, right? but like it's like, oh, this was a really cool thing and it worked really cool for this class. Let's just recycle it and do it here because we know it's balanced already. And I'm like, that's great, but again, like with this, right? Now we've got players that are going to be like, okay, I'm going to spam hex on top of that. So I'm going to be rolling 18d6 with each of my like sword attacks. I'm dual wielding swords because I'm Captain God.
But the hex
It's only
thing is
once.
that it's not as good as hex because you only get it on one attack per turn.
Right,
instead
but
of on
still,
every
you know
one.
what I
But
mean?
yeah,
Like-
but the mechanic of like
Because again, it's either like to me, it's then why isn't it just every attack? Because it's not
right.
like it's a class feature.
Yeah.
It should be more powerful than a spell.
Yeah. Especially
Right.
just a first level spell.
Like that's what I feel like separates the martial archetypes from like the spellcasters in like the great divide that is once you get like levels 10 through 20, and it's like martial classes are like, we're still here.
yeah, I still
Right,
exist.
like you can do awesome stuff as a martial class, but like 10 through 20, yes, that's also like your wizard earned that. They survived
Yeah,
1
they
through
lived that
10,
long,
so
yeah.
like they get to be gods. I feel like a martial thing, like part of your class, should arguably be better than a first level spell.
Maybe it's the fact that you do have the choice that they felt like they had to hamstring at least
Sure.
the damage side of it, and then
Yes, and I
like,
I still think more people than anyone will pick augmented strikes because like
or defense.
no, I mean I think people will pick strikes more than defense just because like they'll want to do more damage.
Oh, I see.
Like
Okay.
I think there will be like I think the better of the two in the short
Is
game
defense.
is augmented defense.
Yeah.
But I think once you get to level 8, you should just focus on doing more damage.
That's true.
Because
Well,
like
also once you hit like that point, you've probably, if you're a fighter, picked up a feat that's gonna use reactions.
Well, yeah.
Like if you are a shield master or you've got whatever, and it's like, oh, I'm using a reaction to like just block it to cause disadvantage or like whatever the thing is. You've got other things that are eating up that reaction besides just the D.
Right. That's what I like about that. Yeah. I like presenting players with choice.
Exactly.
And when do you want to use those resources, as opposed to like I wish strikes where like you burn your reaction to do that extra damage. Right? I want cost for each thing. Like, I don't know. That's my own thing. Anywho, we could talk.
Let's keep rolling.
But you also get telekinetic hand, which is you learn the mage hand cantrip and can cast it without components. And you can also make it invisible, which is something that the wizard can choose from later.
Yeah, as one of its like 3 things that it can choose.
Which is a cool thing. Again, Andrew, am kind of like, yeah, that's cool. It's where it kind of feels like a Jedi, like I can manipulate something and just like pick it up, and like basically all they're doing by saying it's invisible is being like, you don't see a hand,
it's
like it looks like the Force. So you're right, like, and that's fine. I think it's a fine thing for a 3rd level fighter to have. Again, though, I'm like, Andrew, if I'm playing a fighter, want something different, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be able to fight better.
Right.
Because also you got to give fluff. So like I get it.
Like it's good fluff, but also there's probably somebody else in the party who can also mage hand.
Correct.
Yeah, but I guess a lot of these unearthed arcanas are like it literally comes from what would my cool thing be alone? Like a lot of the like what is my concept and how do I fulfill that without other classes? And I feel like that's where you sort of have a lot of the power creep, especially in our Unearthed Arcana, because people are like, oh, well, it's not going to, stand up to these incredible, front row subclasses that they've already written that are already in the, the player's handbook and all, so that they feel like they need to up their game and make it, way too much more than it should be.
Right. Otherwise, people won't care about it, as opposed to like, why wouldn't I just play... an open palm monk is Andrew's favorite example.
Right. Something like the telekinetic hand.
Why would you ever play any other kind of monk?
For sure.
Except for Shadow. I'll argue. I'll argue if you want to be a ninja and teleport a lot, cool. But if you want to punch good, there's no other subclass. Sorry, I'm sorry. This is a whole...
For sure.
But that's the whole thing. Like it's like that's what they're trying to overcome. With Unearthed Arcana. So then it becomes like. 2 OP
power creep.
Well, either that or I don't know. I think the thing that they have to. I think the thing that is successful Unearthed Arcanas that I think really work, and they do exist. Several of them got brought into Xanathar's Guide, right? I loved the Hexblade. I thought it was really cool. I think it fulfilled. In a lot of ways, that thing people wanted, which was I want swords and spells.
Yeah, I want to be a Gish.
Right?
Yeah.
But with it was yes, you get swords, but you also it to me wasn't as dumb as the sword wizard from
the Blade
spell singer.
Yes.
Or boat singer.
Buh. Also, as if elves need another thing. Ugh.
But we love elves more than anyone else.
Can I tell you just real quick side note before we continue on?
Please.
We can talk about it later too. I wish they would just come out with a book of feats.
Just feats?
An entire book? Yeah.
Yeah.
Or I think the whole...
Just the whole... We've talked about this before, privately in our own lives, but, the whole leveling up system could be feats. For me. And, certain classes are only able to take certain feats. But,
the tiny dungeon sort of way.
That to me is so much more you level up how the story dictates you level up. I find a two-handed sword. I get better at two-handed sword.
Because I have one and I've started using it.
I started using it. I don't know. Anywho. Yeah. Sorry, I'll get back onto this martial archetype.
I get what you're talking about, the tiny dungeon comparison, Joe. I get what you're saying.
Strength of mind, Joe. So 7th level, this feature is... okay, again, that's gonna kind of be my thesis about this class is it's okay. As a bonus action, which is the cool part of it to me, any creature a creature that you can see within 20 feet, you can lash out at it with your mind beams, and the target has to make a saving throw against normal DC, your proficiency bonus plus intelligence, which makes this the second intelligence fighter build, which is fine. On a failed save, the target takes 2d6, which is pretty awesome for a bonus action, especially if you're not a dual-wielding fighter. And plus your intelligence modifier, which is also a nice thing to add on to that. And is telekinetically moved 15 feet directly toward or away from you, which is cool. It's the Force. It's a Force push or pull. Like,
it's cool.
At the end of the day, it's a cool thing. Great. Or it takes half as much damage and isn't moved on a save. You can use it a number of times equal to your intelligence modifier. So, like, if you're prioritizing intelligence and you rolled well, right, you might be able to use this 5 times by the time you get it, right? Which is pretty powerful for a bonus action attack.
By the time you get it?
Right, 7th level.
7th level. Oh man, if you prioritize intelligence,
you're gonna have to have a really nice rolls, right? But like I'm talking best case scenario, whatever,
for sure,
5 times at 7th level.
Yeah, very best case.
Bonus action,
and also
attack.
Fighters get a lot of ability score increases. So
right,
it's pretty
2,
feasible.
If you're a variant human, you could have
picked it up.
You could have picked up a feat and then just used those other 2 to boost whatever.
Right.
Anywho, you also probably shouldn't be prioritizing intelligence as a fighter, but anywho, cool. I mean, it's cool. I think there are better things that other fighter classes do, but like as far as making this its own thing, like rock on. It's okay. Like to me, what's up?
I don't know what the other 7th level features are, but for a fighter feature, most of them are short rest. What do you think about the long rest versus short rest for that particular thing? Knowing that it's the secondary skill.
My thing that I actually like that it's a long rest versus short rest because it's using an intelligence modifier, which a lot of the fighter stuff doesn't use. Like, can use this a number of times equal to. It's like, can use this designated amount of times. Like, action surge is like, you get 1. Now you get 2. Right? Whereas like this is like it could be any number, right? Now it sucks if you're not like prioritizing intelligence and it's like I only get 1 per long rest.
Right.
That fucking blows, but then that's on you for choosing to play a psionics warrior and not
boost your intelligence.
Prioritizing
anything else. Yeah.
Give me 1 second real fast and I'll look up because you brought up an interesting point, Jonah, and I want to actually look into it.
What, for like Battle Master and other stuff?
Well, I'm just going through the list of like what people get at 7th level as different fighters.
Battle Master gets Know Your Enemy.
Know Your Enemy, which I think is so underrated. Cavalier,
I really don't like it.
What now?
I really don't like Know Your Enemy. I would only ever use like 2 or 3 of those options.
Oh, for sure. There's only 2 or 3 options that you really want to use. I just think it's a cool
AC.
thing. It's a cool idea to me.
For sure.
Like,
that's true.
Does it come through? No. But like, I like the idea. A lot of the things besides, so like original books, right? It's your fluff level to some extent.
Yeah.
Right. Whereas. And Xanathar's, it's less your fluff level, but that's because Xanathar's kind of moved away from like having fluff levels in an attempt, I think, to make people want to play those classes more. So like, that's fine. To me, this is one of the best things you can do, especially 7th level. Like, 2d6 and moving people 15 feet is nothing to sneeze at as a bonus action, especially if you're like sword and board or 2-hand, right? It
definitely seems more powerful than the Arcane or the Eldritch Knights 7th level.
What is that?
Which
again?
is like when you cast a cantrip, you can also make an attack.
Yeah, that doesn't scale correctly to me, like Eldritch Knight one, but that's a whole nother topic.
The which one?
The Eldritch Knight, like you can use a cantrip and then make an attack. Like I feel like cantrips should just function as attacks because like it doesn't make sense if you play Eldritch Knight all the way and you have 4 attacks and you're like, well, I guess I'll use a cantrip and 1 attack.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. Or if it was like you could bonus action cantrip.
Yeah, I mean like something. I don't know.
Like, but yeah, that would make Eldritch Knight. Well, if a cantrip by that time would actually be super.
See, to me, Eldritch
OP.
Knight is feasible.
Yeah.
As a really good class as written.
Yeah.
It just it requires a lot of love by the player and the DM.
Right.
Like to me it's not a class that works really well if you're like, I'm going to go play Adventurers League.
Right. No.
Cuz it's like if you're doing that, it's play like a champion fighter.
Yeah.
And just be good at killing shit.
Yeah.
That's what all Adventurers League is.
Probably not going to be.
Sorry for shitting on Adventurers League. I've just had bad experiences. Jonah knows.
We've tried.
Level 10, telekinetic bulwark. Love it just because of the name.
Good name.
When you take an attack action, you can forgo one of your attacks to project a bastion of psionic power in a 10-foot radius around yourself. It lasts for 1 minute or until you're incapacitated for the duration. You and your allies in the area gain the benefits of half cover and have advantage on strength saving throws. Once you use this feature, you can't do so again until you finish a long rest or until you use your second wind feature.
Huh.
I really like this one. I think it's a really cool tanking idea, and I think it has, like, to me, this is the most fluff this class gets, and it's one of my favorite parts about it.
I like it.
I hate
it's very unique.
I hate its recharge.
With its, like,
I hate the recharge text because it's like, what?
The recharge text is weird. Like,
because you can just short rest and use second wind and get it back. Like, it feels weird that it's not just a short rest capability, since it's like you have one.
I feel like if they move forward with it, they'll probably just make it short rest.
I would hope.
That would be
or
much less
long
clunky.
rest, because it is powerful. I like it because to me it feels like my imagination instantly goes to a spot in the Witcher 2 video game where, like, they're about to get peppered by a bunch of arrows and Triss is like force field and it just, like, burns away the arrows that are incoming. Right? Like, your friends have to be close, and it's really only advantageous against ranged things because it's giving you half cover. It's not going to really help you with, like, melee. I mean,
because what the hell is a strength saving throw?
Melee? I don't know that it.
I can only think of, like, one strength saving throw, which is, like, the charger feat. Or, like, when a tiger pounces on you or something like that.
So, here's where this is really good to me, because, like, of my vast knowledge of watching a shitload of Critical Role, right?
Mm-hmm.
Anything that has grapple abilities, right? Like, Matt Mercer loves to throw that shit at them. Like, the best depiction of it is the Kraken fight in Campaign 1. No spoilers, right? But, like, it's just a creature that when it hits you, it can grapple you, right?
Oh,
so
okay.
if you're
if
you're
attack.
fighting something big enough that being next to it is going to be also within, like, that kind of radius of your friends or the people that are meleeing it, to be able to give them all strength advantage against, like, an effect that might be going at them, like fighting a pack of dire wolves that every bite has a chance to knock you prone on a strength
knock
save,
down,
right? Like, there's some really cool, like,
that is cool.
It feels. To me, what it does feels weird to what it is called, though. Like, to me, it feels like it's a shield, and it is not a shield. It's
like a bolster.
To me, it's like a paladin ability. Like, it's almost like a banner knight. Like, it's like, I place my banner and everyone gets stronger. But I like it as I think it's cool. I think it's new. That to me is the thing I'm looking for when I look at, like, Unearthed Arcana, is like, is it new?
Yeah, is it novel? Agreed.
Is it not just, like, whatever? Anywho.
Rehashed mechanics.
I like it. Level 15, Agonizing Strikes. Your attacks can channel psychic agony. Oof, we just put psychic in front of something and it gets dark. When you hit a creature with a weapon attack, you can also deal 2d10 psychic damage to that target and force it to make a Constitution saving throw against the same saving throw as mentioned earlier. Unless the save succeeds, the target falls prone and it suffers disadvantage on ability checks until the end of your next turn. You can use this feature a number of times equal to your intelligence modifier and regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. I think the long rest is tying this to Wizard more also, Jonah.
Yeah. So that makes me think of, like, if you do it intelligence modifier amount of times and then long rest, which is also what Strength of Mind gets. Why wouldn't they just, like, do that for telekinetic bulwark as well? That seems like the easy solution, actually.
Right.
You just have all of these features that you can use a number of times equal to your intelligence modifier per long rest, and then you have the uniformity.
I think the reason they went soft on bulwark is because it actually, to me, it's a fluff.
Yeah.
Like, what it does is super situational.
Yeah.
and it's one use.
Can
right?
I
It's
clarify
not...
half cover as well?
Yes, please.
Because it took me too long to look it up because my D&D Beyond app
It's plus 2 AC, right?
Plus 2 bonus
From
to
range?
AC and deck saves, but it's not range specific. So
Okay,
basically,
so
it just gives a
Oh.
plus 2 boost to AC, and they get advantage on deck saves and strike saves.
So that's hella
It's pretty
sick.
baller.
That's actually very good.
Especially for like if you have a group that has a fighter and a barbarian.
Yeah, if you've
and
got
someone
somebody
else
next
tanky,
to you,
right?
yeah,
Like if you've got a couple of melee boys, being able to bolster them like that
that's huge.
is super awesome.
Yeah. That's a great boost, especially to give to a martial class
Heck yeah.
to help their friends.
Agonizing Strikes, I like it. It feels like a smite for a fighter, like which is kind of a cool feature. It does its own thing, right? The one thing I will say that they don't really have, I guess I would assume that they don't really specify whether or not it takes half damage if it succeeds, or if it's just like it does that much damage, and then the second part is just all based on pass or fail.
I think by this language it does the damage, but the other stuff just doesn't take
Yeah,
That
effect.
would be my
sounds
assumption
good.
too.
The way it's worded, that's what it seems to be. Yeah.
I think what it does is really cool because I'm a huge fan of not creating soloing classes.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you want to play a one-on-one D&D campaign or like a two-person D&D campaign, I
Play a
think
druid.
like, well, yes. But also like talk to your DM. You know what I mean? Like talk like, can I have like an ability score boost because there's so few of us? Can we talk about
Can I
like
have a
having
sidekick?
an extra feat? Can we talk about sidekicks? Can we talk about, you know what I mean? Like have that conversation. I love when Unearthed Arcana is like, let's promote teamwork. This to me is a moment that like, if I land this move, even though it's a con save and a lot of bad guys like great con scores, right?
Right.
It's the most easily saved thing across the board when it comes to like Monster Manual. But if you're fighting like, I don't know, vampire boss or something, right?
Or if you're fighting a spellcaster.
Or a spellcaster, and you land this, it falls prone and it suffers disadvantage on all ability checks, right? Which is really, really cool because then you can start talking about like, does your barbarian friend that's next to you start grappling it? Do you try and like lock it down through means that aren't saves, but like things that it's going to have to ability check out of? Which I
like
think
Wrathful
is cool.
Smite is an ability check. It's not a save.
Like so, I like that. Psychic Dreadnought, awesome name, 18th level, should be your capstone. It is your capstone. Should be baller. It doesn't do enough. The power of your mind suffuses the entire being, making you a nigh unstoppable force on the battlefield.
With you so far.
Using your reaction when you take damage, you can give yourself the following benefits for 1 minute or until you are incapacitated. At the start of each of your turns, you regain 10 hit points. Sounds like a big deal. Most 2 other fighter subclasses get that.
Yeah.
The champion gets
Yeah,
something
it's
like
not.
that, and the Unearthed Arcana Brute, which I love. I think
we
they
could
did
go
a
over that
great
one in
job.
another talking shop.
I'm just saying. Like there are Unearthed
yeah.
Arcanas that I like.
We promise listeners there are.
I promise I'm not just like they suck. I look at them with a keen eye. But you regain 10 hit points at the start of each round, which at 18th level is negligible to what's probably happening to you as a tank.
Right.
Your walking speed increases by 10. If you're prone, you can stand up by spending 5 feet of movement.
Like
But
what?
you don't hit
what is
stuff
that?
good. You don't hit it better than you do now.
Okay, I just want to argue.
What is that prone?
I just want to argue that apart from the first bullet point, I can check both of these lower boxes with feats.
True.
Right?
You
I
can
can
get
get the
mobile.
mobile feat,
Yeah.
and I can get the athlete.
Yeah.
If
But
I
this
have
is a
the athlete,
capstone.
and this is your capstone.
Yeah, if this was the choice between another level in like I don't know Rogue or something to get cunning action or whatever the hell, I simply would not take this
2-level dip into
I would
barbarian,
not take the 18th level. Yeah.
which because or 3-level dip, so you can just go ahead and get a 3. But because none of this stuff, even though it feels like casting spells, which is what I'm gonna argue a lot throughout this whole thing, right?
Right.
Oh, we'll get there.
But a lot of this stuff that is intelligence-based, you would be able to use raging because it's not technically a spell.
True.
Which seems ludicrous to me.
If you do that multi-class?
Yeah, like strength of mind, right? The whole idea of raging, cutting off being able to use spells to me is like, I only do one thing when I rage, and it is smash. Right?
Rather than like,
This
I
to
can
me
also
is like-
use my mind powers.
This is like the Hulk using the Force.
It's weird.
It's weird to me.
I mean, when you say that, it sounds cool.
Does it? Does it really? Don't.
Well, what it basically says to me is like, I guess like the whole idea is that you not only are you a fighter, you're essentially you have like 11 type mind powers, right?
Yeah.
And the idea that could be flavored into, as it is for 11 or whatever, like an emotional or a raging kind of thing, is actually like an interesting flavor combination that you don't see.
Yeah.
But the fact that it's all keying off of intelligence and that it's like it just sort of really muddies the
It
water.
makes it feel
you know?
weird to me.
Would you say that
respect.
11 has high intelligence? Like, you know, I'm sure she's, you know, smart, or she's not written as a dummy or anything.
Well,
like
I would
that.
say like,
but
that's
doesn't
also
key-
arguing like that the entirety, like, because it's an intelligence modifier, it leads me to believe that we're building this in arcana.
Sure. Yeah.
To some extent.
That this is
Right.
Like, and so like, do you add a new ability score called mind? Do you know what I mean?
Or
Like,
will or whatever.
like, is this willpower as opposed to intelligence? Like, is it help your fighter out and
Charisma,
let it be
even.
constitution or charisma because
Yeah.
it feels like warlock shit? Like,
Right, yeah.
anywho,
'Cause,
all I'm gonna say on the whole of Psychic Dreadnought is it doesn't do enough, and what it does isn't interesting or unique. Like,
it's not
Yeah.
a good capstone.
and
No.
it
the flavor text is way better than the actual feat.
but like
actual
you listen to
ability.
like the power of your mind suffuses your entire being,
Yeah.
making you a nigh unstoppable force on the battlefield.
I can
Hey,
stand
Willow.
up easier.
No man. Sorry.
Oh, the floopy girl.
But yeah, like, but it's also only a minute, right? Like, I can
Right.
take the athlete feat and I can do that all the time.
For your entire life.
I can take the mobile feat and I can do that all my life. And as a fighter, I've got all the ability score upgrades to do that. Also, how often
Right.
am I finding myself prone at level 18
Right.
when you too strong.
when I can't get up and just be next to the thing I'm fighting?
Yeah. Where
I'm
you
a-
really
Yeah,
need to be.
it doesn't
I'm a
really make
tank.
sense.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I guess the thing that... Okay, here's the thing you could do that would be cool with this. I do want to argue this. You could be a really cool ranger fighter with this. Because the 2d10 psychic damage thing that feels like a smite is just a weapon attack. It doesn't say melee.
Yeah, it could be your bow.
You could literally be a backline sniper and that also shields the glass cannons of the group and gives them, you know, extra AC and, you
Are
know...
you talking
have a-
about if you've got like a lot, like if you have multiple backline blasters using telekinetic, we'll work on that. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I'm saying, well, I mean, not even just that, but like...
Because they have to be next to you.
Augmented defense.
Yeah.
Right? If you're within 30 feet of them,
Okay.
right, you can protect them a little bit of damage. If like, you could do a really cool thing with this class with a bow that I'm just now like thinking of. I still think Psychic Dreadnought's bullshit and it's garbage, but yeah, all that to,
You don't have to be the tank for this Jedi, and I actually think like that would be a pretty. I mean, it's the reason why a Battle Master is so fun. You could make it just as easily make it a ranged boy.
Yeah.
For a lot of its maneuvers, and I feel like
the thing is
Fighter
though,
just really shines.
I think everybody that looks at this and has the realization like, oh, this is a Jedi, is
sword.
gonna want to
sword.
get up and mix in, and like get in the mix with like your sword or whatever.
Oh yeah.
And I don't think it's
Shall we
actually
roll?
built to support that. Anywho, all that
Should
said,
we roll on into the soul knife? Oh, sorry,
it's
bud.
just okay. Like like that's what I walk away with. It has some cool things, but like at the end of the day,
Yeah.
I'm gonna play a champion or a battle master or the brute, right? Like I'm gonna play something that hits harder.
It honestly, the fighter was the only one of these that really like appealed to me on like I would actually play that kind
Yeah.
of way, and even then it's just kind of
Well,
okay.
to me, like,
from what I
You
saw.
only get so many opportunities to like start a campaign, right? So you want to play something that you're like, I know I'm gonna have fun playing this, and this I'm like,
yes.
I might have fun testing this,
Like yeah.
but like a long term unless I'm trying to play a Star Wars campaign, right? In which case, I'm still gonna just play a Hexblade.
Right.
Like,
Sure.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
You're
also,
like, there's space tentacles now.
I had a thought and it left me, and I want to move on. But I had a thought and it left me. I'll come back to it. Just let's move on.
Yeah. Go digging for it.
Sorry for taking
And in the meantime,
so long to talk about
You're
one
good, my
archetype.
homie. Well, we're all jumping in. We're all talking about these things, and now that we've talked about a lot of these things, we don't have to rehash them with the other, traditions, because I'm sure they have the same issues in certain places.
Right.
And so I had the soul knife, which is the roguish archetype of this sort of psionic, and it's a real roller coaster.
Oh boy.
Can I just say I hate
straight up-
this name?
Yeah.
Soul knife.
Oh, it's awful.
It's
like edgy bullshit.
Just say this I'm the soul knife. Like,
Yeah,
what?
I mean,
Get it, but like,
we'll get right
like
into
a
all of the
revenant or
things of
something,
the issue with
right.
it.
A reaver.
Yeah, right. Call it.
Well,
anything.
didn't they call the undead rogue the Revenant or something like that?
No.
That one's like the return, or the
It was
revived. It's called the
something
revived.
similar, yeah.
Yeah. But the soul knife possesses powerful psionic potential. They channel this reservoir of inner magic into tangible blades of psychic energy, striking at their victims' minds. They find easy employment as members of thieves' guilds, sought after as assassins because their signature psychic blades leave behind no visible wounds. And then it has some stuff about like, oh, you might have been trained as a psionic assassin, or your psionic abilities might have haunted you since you were a child, whatever. Essentially, they're sort of kitted out from the get-go as a kind of unseen assassin, right?
Okay.
The idea that these psychic blades leave behind no visible wounds. And that's actually the third level feature.
It was an ice
psychic
pick.
blade.
It was an icicle. I killed him with an icicle.
As a bonus action, you can create a magical blade of shimmering psychic power from one or both of your hands. So you can just automatically have two if you want. You can't hold anything. You can dismiss them at any time, and they disappear if you're incapacitated. It's basically a dagger for all purposes. It's got a range of 30 feet,
Infinidagger.
60 feet if you want to throw it.
Yeah, light, finesse.
And it deals one... Say again, sorry?
Yeah, it's light, it's finesse, you can throw it.
It's an
Yeah.
Infinidagger.
Yeah, and it deals 1d6 psychic damage on a hit. If you throw it as part of an attack, it vanishes immediately. And obviously, again, it doesn't leave any visible sort of injuries.
The D6 is nice.
I like this.
I agree.
I think it's a cool idea. The idea that it leaves no visible damage is really cool and kind of unnecessary in the way that the best fluff is. In that it provokes questions that you wouldn't otherwise ask, right? It provokes story. It provokes like 5 possible uses or plot hooks just with that little tidbit of text. The DM could take that and run it all different kinds of ways. That it only does psychic damage is interesting.
Like I will say, I think because like when we were talking about like who wants to take what, I was like, when I read the first thing of this, I was like, oh, and then I kept reading and I was like, someone else.
Exactly.
This has so much fun out of the gate for a DM to use against a party, right? Solving the mystery murder of like why Jeff died. He has nothing wrong with him.
What killed Jeff?
But like Trent's fucking dead, y'all. You know what I mean?
Yeah, dude.
Like it's cool.
Straight up.
Granted, you as a DM could just be like, it's a magic
it, yeah.
soul knife that this one assassin has.
Right.
But then you have to give that soul knife to your party when they kill that assassin.
Because they're gonna.
Which you might not want them to have. So like it's a nice way of dealing with that, kind of.
Yeah. I will say I think an interesting thing about this subclass is that in the original, obviously I looked at this document many times. In the original Mystic UA, they did have like a soul knife sort of thing. Yeah,
did they?
But it was the only one that they like didn't actually have stuff for besides the fact that you had psychic knives. Other than that, like it didn't have its own, whatever.
Psychic knives.
Well, it was. I don't remember if they it wasn't invocations, but it was like you get to choose your focuses or whatever disciplines. It might have been disciplines, but like each other sort of thing. Like I'm like the earthy one, or I'm whatever the different things were. It's been a while since I've looked at it. It's a lot of general things that I remember, but I remember specifically that the soul knife didn't actually have like other stuff besides the knife. So it's interesting that we've got a good start.
I also love that it does.
Yeah, it's a really good start.
I love that it gives you like a reason to use knives as a rogue.
Yeah.
Precisely. It lets you sort of entertain that idea of because people always want to do like the weird weapons or whatever, and then they are really disappointed when they find out like, oh, there's only like 2 or 3 viable things, and they're named longsword, battle axe, or whatever.
Right.
But I love this because only certain monsters have resistance or immunity to psychic damage. I actually had to look this up, and they're mostly constructs and aberrations.
That makes sense.
Like those are the only things that are like, because you're attacking their mind or whatever that little piece of thing is, and I think that's cool as fuck. Like you were talking about like the mystery of how did Jeff die? Well, like what if your target of your next assassination contract is like an aboleth in disguise, right? And the DM can set up this whole thing. You set up the kill and surprise. Like your knives don't do anything, and all of a sudden, like the ambassador you were supposed to assassinate is becoming tentacles. Right? The DM could do anything
what happens
with
when,
this if
when
they just took it and run.
When your assassination contract is for a warforged.
Yeah. It just doesn't. Actually, I wonder. Do warforged have resistance to psychic?
I don't know, but I meant just like a construct style, right? Like,
right.
Yeah,
I don't
it'd be
remember.
So easy to put that in the game.
Hello, friends. Jonah here to say thank you for listening to this episode of Talkin' Shop. We're glad you decided to come along for the ride while we slowly lose our minds. We meant for this to just be one episode, but obviously we had a lot of thoughts and opinions, so we're going to release part 2 next week with analysis of the psionic wizard along with the new psionic spells. It only gets weirder from here. If you're a fan of the Quest Company, please do us a favor and go to our page on the Apple Podcasts app or wherever you listen to your podcasts and leave us a rating and review. It's a huge help to us, and we read every review that comes in. And if you really love what we do here at the Quest Company and you want to take the next step in supporting us, please consider becoming a Patreon subscriber. For as little as $2 a month, you can help us with necessary expenses, help us continue to improve the quality of the show, and get access to exclusive content like the Dawson's Creek Goblin ASMR video we posted recently, and other cool patron rewards. If you want to give us that support, you could do so at patreon.com/questcompanypodcast. We also have a link to the Patreon on our website, questcompanypodcast.com. If you'd like to contact us, you could do so directly through the Connect page on our website or by finding us on Twitter, Instagram, etc. at The Quest Company. You can also come hang out with us in our Discord. If you need links to any of those things, go check out our website. It's all there. I'd like to thank Mr. Joe Lightis for editing this episode, along with the artist whose music is featured in it. Thank you to Doug Maxwell for the song Swing Bada Bing. Thank you to tabletopaudio.com for providing the ambient sounds. Additional sound design by Slappy. That's all for me, so let's mentally prepare ourselves for the brain thoughts that we are about to think of psychically with mind powers. Thank you for listening to Talkin' Shop here at the Quest Company.
So now that we have returned, I'm drinked up. I'm drinking a pineapple shandy with some black pepper and a Budweiser. It's very tasty. Throw a little lime in there.
I debated getting something besides water in the little break. I thought about it.
So good. Brought to you by Bloodweiser. So the second one. So basically, I enjoyed the Psychic Blade. I think it's it's that correct mixture of it's viable. It's got uses for you and a very very cool drawback for a DM to employ. Yeah. And the third level feature that you get called Psionic Enhancement, I actually really like as well.
Yep.
Andrew, you were saying something about choices, right? Like the idea that it gives you that a good feature is one that gives you choices that aren't really meaningless and let you sort of deepen your understanding of the game. And that's this one. You can focus your psionic power to give yourself an extraordinary ability. When you finish a long rest, you gain one of the following benefits of your choice, which lasts until you finish a long rest. You can communicate telepathically with any creature you can see within 30 feet of you. Increase your walking speed by 5 feet, or your hit point maximum and your current hit points increase by an amount equal to your intelligence modifier plus your rogue level. I think that's awesome. Like, they're not overpowered in the things that they give you, I don't think.
No. I will say,
they might be.
I think you could get rid of the middle option.
Yeah, and just choose between
the
the
walking
other two.
speed?
Because it's just 5.
I like it. The only thing that... Okay, so... You would have to sort of engineer a specific situation where that would be the thing. But I kind of look at it in the same idea that you can very marginally shift what your role is in the party, right? Like if there's one bad guy that is specifically elusive and you know he's going to try to get away from you or put things in your path, then what you might need is just that last little, bit of get up and go to get past or through or around whatever obstacles there are, right? Or like leaving dagger point, right? If you could increase your hit points where you're like, oh my God, I know that this is going to be, we're going to be
I
like
think that
leaving
one's
by the
very
skin of our
useful,
teeth.
especially at that level.
Yeah.
I think that
it's great.
I think that if you increase the walking speed to 10 feet, that might fix it. 10 feet feels more like something.
It's getting kind of dangerous though, because like, I don't know.
But just, in order to make it a viable choice against telepathy or having the hit point maximum increase, it doesn't feel like it would be worth it as opposed to the other two.
My thing is this. I don't see walking speed as something that rogues necessarily need.
Because they can dash?
Because you have dash as a bonus action.
Yeah.
Right? So you're already
it stacks, right?
Huh?
It stacks, right? Like dash, you basically double your walking speed.
Right. So you could
Correct.
get a plus 10 using... Like, if you did everything as movement.
Yeah. I think that what he's saying is, like, they're not hurting for extra movement speed already.
For sure.
Right, so me, even if I was playing this in a campaign you were running, Joe, and I was like, Joe's going to present a boss that is going to be, like, very difficult to reach, right? I, Andrew, am still not going to pick increase walking speed by 5, because I'm just gonna assume that with 60 feet of movement, bonus action and
it'll
movement,
be enough.
I should be able to get close enough that I can at least throw one of my psionic daggers at the thing. You know what I mean? Like,
I guess what I see this as is more like the monk role, which is where like it's not a big boss that everybody's converging on. It's one squishy little guy that has to be dealt with while the other hitters on the team deal with the bigger issues, like the big stompy barbarian or something like that. But if you can just get past everybody, it's kind of like the swashbuckler thing where it's like the mobility is the point, Yeah. If I can sashay on by the barbarian and hit the guy in the back line, like I feel like this to me, would make a very good mage slayer.
What this needs, instead of just 5 feet of movement, is what Sword Coast did with like the elk totem barbarian, which is like things are put at disadvantage, taking opportunity attacks at you.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That
like,
would work.
Like, just because, like, for me, Andrew, and that's just like me looking at this class, whatever. At some point as a rogue, especially if I'm playing a melee rogue, I'm going to pick up mobile. Right.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? Sense. Like there are so many ways I feel as a rogue to pick up extra movement that like
the 5 is kind of marginal.
The 5, especially by like late game, right? Third level, sure. I think it's fine to be in there with those two things, but both those things to me stack through to level 20. Like it is always useful to be able to communicate to people without having to use words. It is always useful to have more hit points.
Yeah, and because that does stack every single level,
literally
that gets higher.
Yeah. I think about like comparing these to the other sort of big rogue archetypes, stuff like the thief or the arcane trickster and such. and I think it's really in the same spirit, but something new.
Yeah,
right?
no,
the idea
yeah.
that the thief has stuff like your cunning action has a new use, and it could be used to use an option or whatever else. The climbing movement and stuff. I feel like it's useful, but not to the point of being all powerful.
For sure.
Which is surprising and honestly few and far between in Unearthed Arcanas, the idea that something can be simultaneously useful and reasonable.
Not ridiculous.
Right.
Next one is the 9th level feature, which I hate. It's called Terrifying Blade. Your psychic blades can now stoke terror within a target.
What?
When you damage a creature with your psychic blade,
fear. Just fear.
create fear. It's just fear. When you damage a creature, so this is the only limit. When you damage a creature, right?
Mm-hmm.
So anytime you damage them with your psychic blade, you can force them to make a whiz save throw versus your intelligence, blah, blah, blah. On a failed save, the creature is frightened of you until the start of your next turn. On a successful save, the creature isn't frightened and is instead immune to this feature for 24 hours.
Okay.
It's not... It is not on the face awful, right? I don't see this falling into many of the different traps that there are, like being, just ridiculously useless or overpowered. I suppose I can see this being interesting as like crowd control. If your rogue tries to frighten multiple targets in one turn instead of just trying to focus fire and kill one target, like that's kind of interesting.
Well, if
It's
you're
okay.
using your bonus action to attack, like, because you're not as a rogue getting mileage out of the
You're not
second
getting
attack,
multiple.
really.
Right.
So if you're using
Precisely,
it as a
unless you
thrown dagger
multi-class.
to like,
Yeah, and it could be fun. It kind of serves the mind power flavor of the class, but there's a huge glaring issue with it that I'm going to get into with our later abilities. Psychic Veil. You can turn invisible for 10 minutes. This is the 13th level soul knife feature. Fuck that name. You can weave a veil of psionic static to mask your physical presence. Everything on you becomes magically invisible. It ends if you make an attack or force a creature to make a saving throw. The feature is limited to the number of times equal to your intelligence modifier. You gain it all on a long rest. It's invisibility. You're a rogue. In my opinion, you're basically already invisible at all times, depending on your DM. It's cool, I guess. But like, that's kind of why you have wizards, right?
To cast,
Right.
If somebody
to cast invisibility
desperately
on you.
needs to be, it's kind of nothing.
here's my thing with it though, and it's the thing that I liked about it when I was looking over this too. Yes, by 13th level, you usually have a wizard that's like, here, be invisible, right?
Or cast greater invisibility.
By 13th level?
I'm pretty sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't remember. Anywho.
Either way,
right? But a lot of the time as a rogue, when you're doing your shit, you're alone. You know what I mean? You're sneaking in ahead of the party. You are doing whatever. To me, I like this because it's a nice tool belt thing to just be like, nobody's around to cast that on me. Also, I don't have to like tell another player how to play. I don't have to be like, hey, wizard, cast this on me now because I'm going to go do shit.
right.
I get to just be like, I need this now. Boom. And the thing that I like, I actually really like, and I could see how it could be an issue, but like, so again, best case scenario by 13th level, let's say you have 5 uses of this, right?
Oh yeah.
Best case
case
scenario,
scenario,
you're
yeah.
probably putting points into other things, but like best case scenario, 5 uses. It poses a very interesting thing that like in combat, right? I can attack something, and then like if and it's super situational, but right, but like the next turn I can make myself invisible again and set up another like right. It would be really useful if you could pair this with like the assassin 3rd level. You can't,
But you can't because it's another rogue. Yeah.
But it would also be ludicrous
Right.
because you would just be like, I'm gonna crit 5 times against the boss.
Right.
I'm deciding.
Right, which brings me to like a larger like criticism of these later abilities is that they offer no specific reason to be a soul knife.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, for sure.
Because an arcane trickster gets invisibility, I think, before now, even though they're like a 3rd caster.
Yeah,
Yes.
because greater invisibility is a 4th level illusion, so you could get it by like level 8.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
but
that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, right.
Which is way more useful than
So,
this.
Yeah.
I thought that was
Invisibility
a
is
later
second.
spell.
Yeah. No.
I know I'm kind of sailing through these, but it's because there's a larger issue
Oh,
that
you're
affects
good.
all
Yeah.
of them that I want to bring
absolutely.
up. Rend Mind, 17th level Soul Knife feature.
Capstone.
You can the capstone ability. This is what you spend your entire time waiting for. I suppose.
You've
I
played
guess
this
you
game
can
for
sweep
3
your
years.
psychic.
Right.
Yeah, so keep that in mind. You've been playing this character, like developing all these important things. Your own relationship to the character. Da 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 da. Oh my god, I'm gonna get something cool. What's the next level? You can sweep your psychic blade directly through a creature's mind. As an action, while you have at least one psychic blade manifested, you can force a creature you can see within 30 feet to make an intelligence saving throw. Da 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 da. If you are hidden, it has disadvantage on the save. It's kind of interesting.
I like
on
that.
a failed save. On a failed save, the target takes 12d6 psychic damage and is stunned until the start of your next turn. On a successful save, the target takes half as much damage and isn't stunned. One of your psychic blades vanishes after using this feature, and it's limited to your intelligence modifier per long rest. You could give me 100 d6 psychic damage, and I still would be bored to fucking tears by this ability. It is the purest encapsulation of numbers versus flavor that I can imagine. Compare this to the Arcane Trickster the 17th level, the one where you can magically steal a spell from any spell from another creature as long as you were affected by it or within its ability if you make the saving throw, right?
Steal it.
Compare this. What now?
Yeah, you steal it. That's cool. That's a thing that you actually like.
It's incredible. It's incredible. Like, and it is rife for story moments, for like the climactic, thing where, I don't know. Who's the vampire guy?
Strahd?
Strahd. Like Strahd casts Dominate and all these other things, and then 17th level. Not that you would be. The climactic moment, you steal that domination, or you steal that counter spell, or you steal just like the signature spell that's been fucking up your party. That is like the coolest shit in a way that is not mechanically broken and is very like thematically interesting. Thief's Reflexes for the Thief subclass at 17th level. You can take 2 turns during your first round of any combat.
Sick.
Like just
Nasty.
it's
Nasty.
sick. It's simple.
Can I argue one thing for this?
Yes.
Okay, it's all I'm gonna say about it, because I 100% agree with you that it is the most watered down. Like, you do damage,
Yeah.
right? Granted, the class is called Soul Knife.
Right. So it's like you're here to hit it with your
you're-
knife. Good.
Like the people that it's made for is people that
For
are like,
sure.
I want
Dark
to roll
Souls,
more dice.
I want to roll 12
Right.
dice.
So, at 17th level, if you do this against a creature that doesn't know you're there, right? It has disadvantage on this intelligence save. It also takes sneak attack damage. So you're rolling 21 d6.
Oh, see.
It doesn't take sneak
It doesn't.
attack
Am I?
because it's not an attack. It's an action.
Well, no, but here's what you do with it, though. Here's what you do is you do this. Oh, wait, no, because you could. Well, here's the question. If you do this, could you still make your offhand bonus action attack, or no, because this is an action? Because
No.
it feels like what this would be
Well,
built
wait, no.
for.
You could do a bonus action attack.
You could bonus action attack, or do
Yeah.
you have to do like an attack?
No, that would
as
be
your
if you had
action?
multi-attack.
Okay.
You can always use bonus action to take a second attack with an
Because-
offhand weapon.
Because the thing that you would do with this is you would do this as your action, and then you would use your bonus action to fucking auto crit the stunned thing with a sneak attack.
What, the sneak attack would be used on your offhand
Correct.
weapons?
Yeah, because it can be.
Yeah.
And it would auto crit after you establish the thing failing to save here
Because
and becoming stunned.
You're setting up. You're really setting up your second attack
Yeah.
to some extent.
Because it says it only gets rid of one of your soul knives. So in theory, you've
Yeah.
summoned both of them. You do the thing with the one and then stabby with the other one.
So functionally, it's just like any other assassinate ability in that the entire purpose is to give damage, right?
Yeah. Oh,
It's
it's
essentially.
all this is.
You know,
is spike damage.
I'm never gonna dispute the idea that this is weak or that this is strong enough and like it'd be fun to like do as like, oh, look at all this damage I can do.
Oh, yeah.
I'm only ever gonna say stuff like I don't care at that
Yeah.
point. because if you've been playing D&D up till 17th level, you have found things, I hope, that are more important to you and your character than dealing 12d6 psychic damage. And like I'm always going to be the curmudgeon about this, about like the idea that the whole purpose of this game is to deal out numbers, right?
Yeah.
And when we get into talking about the magic and the new spells that they invented, like it's just going to be the same shit, because like you say, Andrew, they just kind of recycle mechanics.
Right.
It's just sort of disadvantage on this, advantage on that.
Again, the only thing that I'm saying when I'm saying like I know the type of person that made this class.
Oh, for sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I know why they made this class, because they wanted to be the person that's like, at 17th level, when the big boss comes out to monologue, I want to stab him in the back of the head twice and it
kill
be
him.
done.
Yeah.
I always want to get the kill. Is me.
Right.
Right. Like, and that's totally like, I want to roll a lot of dice. I want to do a shitload of damage. This is also like,
So they played this character in Adventurers League, is what you're saying.
yes, it's literally a thought I had. Like, this is built for an Adventurers League. Like, I'm here to do a thing that a DM can't refute me doing.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
But also, like, and I'll say this pseudo in defense of Unearthed Arcana, right? And we should probably have a disclaimer, right? We are all actors,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
All three of us.
Yeah.
We care vastly more about what is the story being told as opposed to like
How many dice?
how am I killing the best? You know what I mean? Right. I think this has merit with certain kinds of players, right? If I don't care,
But even
then like this is a viable class other than the assassin.
as a math game, it's boring.
Oh yeah, for sure.
In the sense that the things that it does are not novel.
Yes.
They're not unique to this subclass. Literally the only thing that this has changed that I'm seeing is the stun, which is cool and feels kind of monkey.
Just like with the fighter and with when we talk about this wizard. When I read all three of these, I was like, I know who these were made for.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And that's okay.
Yeah.
Like, there are different tables, you know? Like, there are DMs that are trying to actively kill their players. Right?
Right.
So, like,
right.
it might be nice to be able to be like, and I'm invisible now. You know what I mean? It might be nice to be able to, like, I stun the bad guy and I stab him again and then I turn invisible and I run like fuck. You know what I mean?
So the DM doesn't just murder me on principle.
Right? Also, can we just talk about, because I just had the thought, that invisibility thing, if somebody hasted you and you could have double actions to just be like, stab, invisible, stab, oof.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, you're racking up some pretty high-powered crits.
But again,
you go crit fishing with this boy.
We can always sit there and go like, let's talk about like what could be done with other classes in this class.
Oh yeah, because you can combo and whatever. And
unless I'm talking about like what I was talking about with the fighter, where it's like very clearly like it feels like we're setting like. I like classes, and I like when D&D promotes like I'm setting someone else up for a victory, as opposed to my character is always focused on like I love this stuff with like I'm gonna grapple somebody so that other people have advantage on it, like so other people can do more damage.
Yeah.
Like I love when this game allows people to actively have teamwork.
You know, I will say in regard to this, I think that actually in a way it lends itself more to that you're talking about, the teamwork thing, than like the assassinate capstone. Right? Because if you get the stun and your big old sneak attack that you follow up with after doesn't kill them, then they're stunned for the rest of your party to go to town on.
It's also cool that it's an intelligence-based stun, where most stuns come from like constitution saves.
Yeah, that this is an intelligence save, that's going to be rough for a lot of things.
Granted, most things you fight at that level are going to have legendary resistances and just be like, fuck off.
Right.
Exactly.
I mean,
that is exactly the thing. And the entire like criticism that I haven't even broached yet about this class is that both of these like save spells require intelligence, right? So to literally not be useless as a class, you need to be pumping intelligence as a rogue. It's doable. I mean, it's doable.
You're doing the same thing. They're doing the same thing they did with Fighter, and just being like, let's map off of the arcane trickster.
Yeah. And they have already set some sort of precedent by giving the, like, in the player's handbook, the saving throws that the rogue has are dex and intelligence.
But the arcane trickster has spells.
Oh yeah, true.
If you are playing a soul knife from level 1 through level 17, the only things you will ever use your intelligence for are these two abilities that you get at 9th and 17th level, and whatever skills that you get. That's how I feel about the like fighter. Investigation. It's completely. It does not. I would not play this class.
It doesn't stack well.
You know what I mean?
That's a very good point.
You're not going to be good at the thing you want to be good at until you're level 9 or 17, and it will come at the exact like penalty of the other things that your rogue is generally supposed to be good at. Yeah. So I would truly never play this class past the 3rd level, which I think is awesome. I think the 3rd level's great.
I think
it's made for a dip.
3 levels.
It's made for a dip.
Like it's straight up. It is eminently playable level 3, maybe level 4 if you want to get like the ability score increase or whatever. But I cannot like ever imagine myself playing this past level 4. Yeah. It's just simply not worth it. That's basically my feeling about it. And you know, I don't intend to be such a hog about the numbers versus flavor thing, because I really think you can do both. I really think that there's a world 100% where
100% agree.
Yeah, where mechanics can be just as spicy and funky as flavor.
I think the simplest one is the Barbarian's Brutal Critical. To me, it is so simple that it's just like you roll an extra damage dice, but like it makes sense that when a barbarian crits, they crit worse than any class.
Yeah.
Because it's like it's a half of a Volvo going through your neck. Like like of course it's gonna be worse than like the toothpick stiletto that the thief is using.
Right.
Yeah.
It's sneak attack, so
but still, yeah.
What one final thing about this? I mean, psionics, right? It's a unique and distinct magic, apparently, right? That we're sort of trying to dive into.
Yeah.
They've been trying to do this for a while now with 5e and unearthed arcana, and I think I think it was Dan Dillon on Twitter mentioned that psionics is already like it exists in the player's handbook. It's just like the great old one, like it's those sorts of flavored spellcasters and stuff. But I'm not seeing anything that is new other than the select a benefit mechanic. That is the only thing I'm seeing that's really like, this is a new addition to the game. And I think there's even other classes that do that to some other degree. But if psionics was entirely based around the concept that you are able to kit yourself out for the upcoming engagements or whatever in some small way, I'd be all about it. Because it's like, okay, cool. That's just what psionics are in this universe. But the stuff of that I'm seeing is minimal. It just doesn't seem carried through in any real mechanical sense. Anyway, sorry to shit on it. What's the next one?
You're good. Well, also, it seems like maybe the game as a whole, like at least with these latest unearthed arcanas, like the class options one, it seems like there's going to be more and more of switching out stuff in long rest if they hold to that, like the maneuvers and combat and stuff like that. So if that's the case, then that is even less of a unique thing.
Well, it seems even less unique. Weird because it's going to be really hard for them to successfully retroactively fix that,
right?
For stuff that's already in existence that doesn't do that,
right?
Especially if you start just being like, and they get this, and everyone has dark vision now. Like, just do what you need.
Shit might get weird. Wizard time.
Nope. No.
Oh boy.
Wizards study magical power in all its forms, including the magic of psionics. So we just
do
said that
they?
it's magic.
Oh, do they?
We just said that psionics is
God.
magic. Those wizards who follow the tradition of psionics hone the magical potential of their own minds, like
Unlike other
wizards
wizards.
do. Sometimes called
my God.
psionicists or mentalists.
I saw that show.
The hit show The Mentalist.
Hey,
These wizards
shut the fuck up. The Mentalist is amazing.
interact
that.
Now I want to play Sean Spencer.
with the multiverse
Psych, the
through
wizard.
the lens of their psionic aptitude and awareness. Psionicists, fucking word, channel their. I'm not flubbing it either. It's psionicists. Channel their magic by focusing their minds. By doing so, they can transcend their physical bodies, adopting forms of pure thought, casting spells.
What the fuck are you talking about?
I'm a thought boy. I'm a thought. Casting spells psionically to bypass the need for components and perceiving the world with a broader range of senses. As a member of the psionicist tradition, you might have awoken your psionic potential through the strain of your esoteric studies.
Oh my lord,
Or
Jonah.
perhaps you joined a scholarly order dedicated to unlocking the magic of the mind. You know, like wizards
Pulling
do.
my hair out.
So, with that said,
I haven't been able to hear Joe this entire time because my headphones have been messed up. So I'm really excited to hear
Just
what he
hit
has
me.
to say
Oh,
when
boy.
he eventually comes through my headphones.
well, you're too late because he died. He died when I read that.
I'm
he
I'm
perished.
very excited.
Um,